Now you all know what I do for a hobby, and I'm after the big games, and I've just caught one, and for that you get the box, the manual, the cards, the whole damn thing.
Super Nintendo Entertainment Center presents release of power. Use those releases and pro. Experience it for yourself. Next generation from Nintendo. Now you're playing with super power.
Welcome back, guys, to another Super Nintendo video. I know it's been far too long. I've just been so busy. And a lot of this stuff I bought months ago. I mean, that must have been the last time I did a video, because these games seem like ages ago I bought these. But I have been picking up books as well, magazines, a console. So loads to show you this week's video. So strap yourself in, guys. It's going to be a long one. But I'm really looking forward to doing this, because obviously it is my first love, Super Nintendo. Always will be. Such a great console. And it's also really good to see other YouTubers now back on the scene, like Pete Snestastic, uploading some videos for Super Nintendo, even though it's PAL. Won't hold that against you, Pete, but it's great that you're not collecting American games, because obviously less competition for me. So that's great for me and Cybersnake, Jay, who hasn't done a video for ages. Jay, you need to upload a video, boy. You're dearly missed on the tubes. Get yourself up, mate. Daz, Cole Jones Delario, showing a bit of love for Super Nintendo as well, which is great to see. It's just great for the community. It's great for me, because I haven't done a video, and I always like to see what other people are picking up, especially if it's SNES games. So it's really interesting to see their points of view. So it's just great. So go and check those channels out, guys. I put my link to those in the video below. So let's just get straight into it. What have I been playing? What have I been picking up? Well, the game that I have been playing a lot of, two of them actually, are in the pickups, which I'm going to show, which I'll show you in a bit. But first of all, I want to show you the book that I recently picked up a couple of weeks ago. It is an official book by Nintendo. It is the, excuse me, Playing with Super Power. And it's a fantastic book. Comes with this lovely sleeve. It just slides off like this. And underneath you have some artwork of the carts, the American carts, of course, the best. It gets a lot of slack, the American console and the carts. A lot of people call it ugly. Well, I'm sorry, you're ugly. If you think it's ugly, it's great. To be honest with you, I don't hold one above the rest. I think they all look great, but I don't think this console or the carts were ugly. I really like the American console. I just think it's a little bit unusual, a little bit different. It's quite similar to the sort of NES design, very square and angular. But yeah, this book is absolutely brilliant. I haven't had a read all the way through it, but it's fantastic because it's got concept art at the beginning here, how the console came together. And here you can actually see sort of comparisons with the NES, which is pretty cool. It's got drawings here across generations. It goes into the mouse, the controllers, different types of controllers, the US one and the PAL and the Japanese one, and of course the Super Scope, how that came about, a little bit of early Nintendo history going on. And it doesn't showcase loads of games in here, it showcases some of the best ones, which I think is really cool. And it goes into such detail. Look, it's got lovely pixel art going on there. It's got Japanese covers there of the Mario Kart. Screenshots. It's just a fantastic book, it really is. All the different Mario Karts that came out, for the Wii, the Wii U, even the Switch there shown in detail. And it goes into detail of some of the best games. Super Metroid, my favourite Nintendo game, and so looking forward to the new Metroid. I have picked up the 3DS version. I've only had a chance to play about half an hour of it, but I will be mentioning that soon. But yeah, look, it's got all the maps, which is great. Whoops, magazine on the floor. Look at the artwork of that, guys. So cool. So yeah, guys, if you haven't picked this up and you are a big Super Nintendo collector, look at that whole evolution of Metroid there shown on the timeline. That is cool. And you got Kirby's Dream Course, and all the other games that came out for it on the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy. Just a fantastic book, a must pick up, guys. It really, really is. I know there's another book coming out for the collection as well. I think it's getting a Kickstarter. So yeah, that I picked up a couple of weeks ago. Magazines, Super Play, who I've got to thank Colin, who is Limpy on UK VAC, for finally giving me, well, I still haven't completed the Super Play collection, but I think I only need about 3 now for a complete collection. So he sent me these. Colin, you're a top bloke. Issue number 48 and 41, which is great because one of them's got a review of Parodius 3 in there. But was the one I was thinking? Sorry, that one there. I'm showing you this one, number 48. This is actually a reissue, a remake, or reissue actually, continuation, which was released with Retro Gamer, and it actually has a new game reviewed in here, which is Star Fox 2, which I haven't even played yet. So I'm really looking forward to playing that and reading their review. And of course it's got the artwork from Will Overton, who I'm a massive fan of. He did all the artwork for all the Super Play, so it's great to see him back on the cover of Super Play number 48. But that wasn't the one that Colin gave me. Colin gave me number 35, which has got Vampira's Kiss on there, and it's got Earthbound reviewed in there as well. So I'm really interested to see what they say about that game and what they give it. Such a great magazine. Yeah, look, Vampira's Kiss reviewed in here. You know, the later in life this magazine gets, the less reviews you get, and they start concentrating more on the N64, but there are still some good games in here that are reviewed, and it's just nice to get the complete collection because it is one of my favourite magazines. So Colin, thank you so much for giving me those on UK VAC. Top bloke, and great to get this, guys. If you haven't got this, go and get yourself a copy of Retro Gamer. It is a reissue number 48. It's Star Fox 2, and it goes back and reviews some of the classic ones as well, like Secret of Mana and Contra, Metroid, Street Fighter 2 in there as well, Turbo. All the ones actually that I think are on the classic Mini. Yeah, that's right. Reviews of the SNES Classics. So they're all the games that are on the SNES Classic Mini, which is great, which we're going to, because I have picked the SNES Classic Mini up. And I haven't even opened it yet, guys. Can you believe it? I haven't had a chance to open this. You guys have probably modded this by now with 100 odd games, which I probably will do with some really obscure Japanese stuff, which is way out of my reach. But there are some games on here that I haven't played and do not own. And you'll be shocked, actually. I don't own Donkey Kong Country, can you believe it? But I have owned it in the past on the PAL. But I'm still waiting to get a good copy on the NTSC American. But it's got Earthbound on here, which I haven't played. Kirby's Dream Course, Kirby's Superstar, Mario RPG, Final Fantasy 3 I don't own, and of course Star Fox 2, which I've never played. All some fantastic games. So I think what we've got to do, before we go into all my games I've got to showcase, I've got to open this up. And I've just got to fire up the home screen and just run through and just see what there is like, because I haven't done that yet, guys, and I want to see. I'm excited. So let's open this up. This will be interesting. Oh, I love the smell of everything new, brand new. So we've got an instruction manual like you would do with the console, and it's all nicely packaged there, you can see. If you haven't picked one of these up yet, guys, I don't think they're as hard to get as the NES Mini. I think there's quite a lot about. A lot of my mates picked up 3 or 4 of the bloody scalpers, flipping, scalping wankers, and sold them on for a profit. But I don't think they made that much because they produced so many of these, and they're going to produce a lot more, which is good. So here it is. Look at that. It's tiny. Absolutely tiny. Okay, so the eject button doesn't work, of course, because we're not going to put any carts in there. But the reset, and it's got a nice little on-off button, which is cool. And you've got your USB there at the back and power. And 2 ports for your controllers. So there should be 2 controllers in here. Yep. So here we go. And that is beautiful. Look at that. Yeah, and I can't tell the difference. So if I pick up my original one, okay, this is probably a little bit worn. Yeah, it looks slightly different. Obviously, the font is a little bit fainter. That's bolder. The font's bolder on that one and on that one, but they feel exactly the same, guys. Honestly, that is unbelievable. They've done that. Looks and feels exactly the same. That is a massive achievement. Nintendo, well done. But I hate Nintendo because not only have they brought one of these out, they brought an American one out as well, which I want to go with my American console. I want the Japanese one to go with my Japanese console. I want all 3, which I will get when I get some money, but I'm absolutely skint because Nintendo make me skint. I hate you, Nintendo. You know, this is why I made that conscious decision years ago to just collect for one manufacturer, because they release just so many games. Even with their whole back catalogue over all their consoles, in a lifetime I'd never get to play them all. So I'm glad I just stuck with one manufacturer, but even that is hard to keep up with. They just keep releasing good stuff that I want. So Nintendo, here's all my money, just take it, and I'll just make do with a tin of baked beans and a bog roll. That would do me, because that's the way it's going. But yeah, really, really cool. So what should we do, guys? I'm going to fire this up. I've got to see the home screen. I'm really excited to see the home screen, and then we get into all my games, right? Right, guys, so I'm going to fire it up for the first time, see what happens. Now, what's going to be really interesting is to see the lineup on here, because there's a few games I'm not quite sure about. I know I haven't played them to really judge how good they are, but I can think of so many other cool games that I would rather put on here, to be honest with you. So here we are. We've got the obligatory sort of lift music that Nintendo do, and the home screen is exactly the same as the NES one. So you've got your data files here, and it sort of scrolls from left to right. So starting off with Street Fighter 2 Turbo, had to be on there. Great fighter. Castlevania, great platform game with some fantastic music and Mode 7 going on. Super Ghouls and Ghosts is a good game, but I'm not sure it's one I would have picked. Super Mario Kart definitely had to go on here. Super Mario RPG, I've never played this game. Not sure whether I'd choose that, to be honest with you. Super Mario World, one of the best Super Mario games of all time. Super Metroid, one of the best games of all time. So those two definitely had to go on here. Super Punch Out, I like Super Punch Out. I think it deserves to go on here. I think it's a great game. Zelda Link to the Past had to go on here. Classic RPG. Such a beautiful game. A must have played. Super Mario World 2, which is kind of like a spin-off. Yoshi's Island. Great art style. It's okay. I found it a little bit too easy, to be honest with you. Contra Free, Alien Wars, or Super Protector in Europe. Fantastic run and gun game. Absolutely brilliant. Had to go on here. Donkey Kong Country. Obviously, there's 3 Donkey Kong Countries. Whether the first one is the best, maybe they could have chosen number 2 or 3, I'm not sure, but it's a great game. It's got all that rendering graphics, which was quite new for Super Nintendo at the time. Earthbound, another RPG, which I haven't played. I've heard it's a cult classic. Great humour. So I think that had to go on here, because that is quite an expensive game to buy. F-Zero, very early release for Super Nintendo. Good racer. Final Fantasy 3, I'm not a big fan, to be honest, with Final Fantasy, I have to admit, but I will give it a go, see what it's like. But we've already got three RPGs on here already. Link to the Past, Super Mario RPG, and Earthbound, and Final Fantasy. That's quite a lot. Kirby Superstar, 8 games in one. Not sure what this is about, whether these are sort of Game Boy games, or NES games. Kirby's Dream Course, I've heard, is supposed to be really good, so I'm quite happy to see that on there. But I think I could probably take that one out, to be honest with you. Mega Man X, obviously Mega Man's got a big fan base, big cult following. Whether that's the best Mega Man in the series, I'm not sure, because I haven't played all of them. Secret of Mana, another RPG, is absolutely a beautiful game, and I remember finishing it back in the day and absolutely loved it. Beautiful music, fantastic game. I think that does deserve to go on here. Star Fox, I guess that has to go on here. Whether it holds up today, what do you think, guys? Do you think it does? Sort of early polygon graphics? I think it does. I think it's pretty cool. Whether Star Fox 2 does or not is another matter. I've never played it, so I'm really excited to be playing this. You've got to unlock it though, and I'm not sure how you do that. So let me know how you do that, guys. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I've got to finish the first game first. And then we're back to the beginning again. So, okay, overall, great lineup. They've got to obviously think about sort of the general public that will be picking this up. Just your casual gamers, people that just have a bit of nostalgia, and not sort of your real connoisseurs of the Super Nintendo collecting world like you guys are and me. Because I would actually take a couple of these out. I would actually take Final Fantasy 3 out and put a shooter in there. There are no shooting games in this at all, no shmups. So I would take that out and put Super Aleste in there, Space Mega Force, because it needs a shooter and there isn't one. Or maybe Axlay. Axlay would have been a cool game. And I would have taken out Yoshi's Island, because you've already got Super Mario World. I would have put maybe Pocky and Rocky in there, or Pocky and Rocky 2, which is a really expensive game. That would have been great to see in here. And I think I would have taken out Super Ghouls and Ghosts and put Rock and Roll Racing in there, something like that, just because I think that's a fantastic game. I think Super Ghouls and Ghosts is good, but it is rock hard. Even though you do get a sense of progression, you know, it is one of those games that you've got to keep playing and learn the patterns. But I think there could have been more fun game in here. So yeah, I think there's room here for changing a few of these games around, guys. It'd be interesting to see what you say about this. What games would you have liked to have seen on the SNES Mini? Because I definitely think there's too many RPGs. But it's great to have. I'm going to get it modded with a few obscure Japanese titles and whatnot. And it's just great for the collection. So there you are, guys. I'm not going to go into any of the games because I want to show you all of my pickups. I've got some fantastic ones to show you, and we're going to do a little gameplay of one of them as well. So let's have a look at these. Alright guys, well, bit of a change of heart this video. I was going to just showcase 6 games in this video, but now I'm going to showcase probably twice that, because this could be my last video for quite a while, guys. I don't want it to be, but unfortunately I've had some bad news. The landlord who I rent off has decided to sell up and has given me basically 3 months to get out of here. So when shit hits the pan, it really fucking does, doesn't it? I mean, fucking hell. I mean, I've had such a hectic month, year, and then to end it like this is a real downer, to be honest with you. I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going, but I will be back with videos because I enjoy doing these videos, enjoy the hobby. I'm going to try and hang on to as much as I can. Obviously I don't know where I'm moving to and how much space I'm going to have, but everything in this room will be staying with me. It's the other summer house where I've got my new machines which I've been building up. Excuse me, bit of rum and coke, I think. Like the Space Invaders I picked up, the Video Pinball, the Battle Zone. I'm not sure what's going to happen with them. I really don't want to sell them, I really don't. Maybe the M4 can go, but definitely not the Video Pinball. Don't really want to sell that. I don't want to sell the Space, I don't want to sell anything really. I really don't, but I don't know what house I'm going to get for my money. When I moved in here, we got a good deal because my mother lives next door, and she put us onto the landlord. He turned out to be someone I knew from school, so we got on really well. We got a good deal, you know, no fees involved. It was just a straight move in, deposit, and we've been here 7 years later. And he's been pretty good, really. But he wants to buy a house, and he needs some collateral money towards the house, so he's got to sell up. So he's got to do what he's got to do, you know. But it's just a shame, really, because you know, it's been cool doing videos in here. It's been my kind of little home from home, you know. Every man has that, don't they? The little shed or the little room they need to get away and have the bit of space, and it's important, I think, for a guy. Maybe it is for a girl as well, I don't know, but I like my space here, and it'd be a shame to see it go, as well as the garden and the wildlife here. We've got a lot of wildlife here, and the cat obviously loves it here. Isabella likes it here, my daughter. She's got schools nearby, so I really don't know what's happening or where I'm going. I really don't. And it's a weird feeling to be in. It's quite an insecure feeling to be in. But basically, after this video, and maybe I'll try and do one more video before I move out, before I pack all this lot up, which is a real shame. I've always wanted to do a game room tour of all my stuff, but I've never been in a position where I thought it's exactly how I want it. But it'd never be that way. We're constantly evolving as collectors, moving on, changing things around. So I guess I just got to get it out there. So maybe I'll just do one more video before I pack up and leave, which is a real shame. But I will be back, guys, hopefully in the new year sometime. And maybe I can fit a game room tour in between, but man, it's going to be hectic. It's going to be stressful. And yeah, I just don't know what's happening. Fuck it, man. I mean, that's life, isn't it? I mean, you try and drown your sorrows, but they learn to swim. Ah, dear. So, guys, games is what you tuned in for. Got some crackers here. I really have. As I say, I bought these quite a while ago. I just love a Super Nintendo. It's such a great system. You know, you'd be hard pushed to make me sell my SNES collection. You'd have to fucking pull my arm off for me to let go of any of my SNES games, because you know, actually, with my SNES collection and my Sheriff cabinet, everything else could, if at a push, if I had to, if I really had to, everything else could go. But Sheriff, Sky Skipper obviously, and my SNES collection, it ain't going nowhere. But again, you know, Donkey Kong Jr., they're not going, but if I had to, they'd go, because I could pick them up again at 10 a penny in America. You know, they come up so often. But don't worry, guys, they're not going. But you do think about these things at a push. You know, what would you have to sell? You know, because obviously I'm going to need some money to get out of here, and it ain't cheap moving places, I tell you. Gonna need a Luton van, gonna need deposits, you know. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But anyway, guys, you don't want to listen to all that rubbish. Let's get on with the games. So first up, and this is one I've been playing a hell of a lot of. It's a fantastic game. It is Ninja Warriors again. Quite an expensive game. Expect to pay around £200–250. It did have an arcade release, a dual screen, quite a rare cabinet, but it plays and looks completely different, to be honest with you. And it's still a sort of run and gun sort of action game, but the sprites are a lot smaller on the arcade version. The sprites on this are really big, and that's a good thing, because I think they're really well drawn. It's a cracking game. It's very similar to Kung Fu Master. Do you remember that? The classic arcade game. So it's just one tier, one level, and you're fighting through. But there's some fantastic movesets in here. There's the instruction manual. And you've got 3 characters to pick from as well. and they're kind of the like robot ninjas, which is an awesome theme. It is just an absolutely cracking game. I love it. I've nearly finished it. I know my mate Leon's finished it. It is really good, and it's a game I like playing through quite often actually. I just love the music. As soon as I fire it up, it's just absolutely awesome. So that was my pickup from quite a while ago. One of my favourite games in the Super Nintendo collection. Next up is a Super Famicom game. This is Operation Logic Bomb. I love the atmosphere and I love the music in this game. How would you explain this? It's like a top-down gauntlet style game, I guess. It's not 4 players, but it's got that top-down look. It's a pretty cool game, but it does get a little bit repetitive. But I love the music. I love the way it all starts up. It's a classic game. I wish I could have more time in this video to do a gameplay of this. It's unusual. It really is unusual. The US box goes for quite a lot of money, and I picked this up quite a while ago. I think I will try and get the US copy because I do like this game. But yeah, Operation Logic Bomb. Check it out, guys. It's quite an interesting looking game. Next up is a game I had on PAL, and I brought years ago for about £35, and I had it for about 10 years, and then I sold it and didn't realise how sought after this game was. It is Demon's Crest by Capcom. It is an awesome game. So it's got the character here from Ghost and Ghouls, the Gargoyle, and it's kind of like a well, it's similar to Ghost and Goblins. It's an action platformer, but it's got lovely parallax scrolling. It's got lovely mode 7, so you've got an overall map which goes into mode 7, and you can sort of like choose which sort of areas you want to go to first, so you can and what bosses you want to do first. So a little bit like ActRaiser, if you like. There's no set path. You've got the sort of, I don't know how many bosses are, about 6 bosses, and they've all got these crests that you get, and which give you abilities to move on to do the next level. It's really good, but it is quite a hard game. But man, it is the beginning, one of the best beginnings of any Super Nintendo game. You start off, and it's this dragon. You just see this dragon's head come smashing through the wall, and the sprite animation is absolutely incredible. This whole dragon blasting through the wall, and he's chasing you, and you've got to kill him with your fireballs. I think it takes about 5 or 6 fireballs to kill him, and then it opens up, and then you're into the world. It's just a fantastic beginning, one of the best beginnings in any SNES game. It is a beautiful game, and the box art, guys, look at that, absolutely awesome. Demon's Crest. Again, you know, when I come back to do videos, I want to do some gameplays of some of this stuff because it is so cool. Next up is a shoot 'em up, side-scrolling shoot 'em up, which is Thunder Spirits. I believe this is a port of what is the Mega Drive game? It's God, can't remember what it's called now. It is a port of a Mega Drive going in an arcade. Thunder something? Thunder 3 or something like that? Oh, guys, I can't remember. Put a link in the video. The link in the video below. Put a comment in the video below, guys. Thunder Spirits? No. Thunder Force. Thunder Force, that's it. This is a pretty cool side-scrolling shooter, actually. It's pretty good for beginners. It doesn't start off too hard, so the progression is quite good for beginners because it slowly builds up, and then it gets quite hard. So there's a bit in there for everyone, I think. I really liked it. I thought the sprite animation was brilliant. The graphics were really cool. The sound's good, and it's an overall quite a good shoot 'em up, actually. Not as good as R-Type 3 or Axlay, but a well-worthy addition to your collection, guys. This is Thunder Spirits, or Thunder Force 3, I think it is. Obviously the music's a lot different in the Super Nintendo version, a lot better. I haven't played it enough to say whether there's any slowdown, but I did enjoy this game, and definitely worth owning, guys. That's Thunder Spirits. Next up is Turtles in Time. Now, I bought a right old tatty copy of this. And there's a good reason, because I'm not really into the Turtles theme at all. I don't get it, and it's because it passed me by, and it's probably because I'm 47 years old and I was about travelling around when everyone else was into all this stuff and I wasn't. I just don't get it. I'd rather see proper robot ninjas or something like that, like in Ninja Warriors, than Turtles. I just think it's a dire theme. I really do. I just don't like them. I think they look cheap and nasty. But the game's good. The game is good. For a side-scrolling beat-em-up on the Super Nintendo, it's a pretty cool game. It's got some fantastic Mode 7 where you swing the enemies around and they just splat on the screen, which is really cool. And the levels are quite different. There's a lot of variation. Overall, it's a good game. I'm just not really into the theme. I played it through once. I don't play it much, guys. And the funny thing is, it's quite a sought-after game. So this is quite expensive, but I got this for under £100, probably because of the condition. It's got a lot of nicks and tears in it, but you know what? I'm not that fussed, to be honest with you. I'd rather spend that little bit more money on a game that I really want and I enjoy playing. But still worthy of the Super Nintendo collection. I know a lot of you guys like this game, and I don't blame you. It's not a bad game, it is a good game, just not into the theme. Next up is Wario Woods, which basically got an NES release about the same time, and in fact the NES version was probably one of the, I think it was the last NES game to be released, was Wario Woods, and this was released at the exact same time as the NES version. It is a kind of Tetris clone, or Puru clone. But you've got to pick up things at the bottom of the screen and throw them around and work out the puzzles at the bottom here. So you've got a little character at the bottom, Wario, who smashes all the stuff up. I love Wario, and I love collecting Wario games, so this was a must for the collection, and I love the box art. How cool is that? So cool. So it was really chuffed to get this Wario Woods. I've been after it for a long time. I do love Wario. He's such a cool character with his denim jacket on. Like proper old sort of 80s rocker. Do like Wario Woods. And next up is a very similar game, Kirby's Avalanche, another Tetris clone puzzle game. Haven't played this one yet, guys, so I'm not sure how it plays, but it's an in-house Nintendo game, so I had to get this, and of course I love the box art as well. So that was a nice pickup. Next up is another cracker. You're going to love this one. Brilliant arcade game, fantastic conversion. It is Sunset Riders. Again, this is quite an expensive game. Expect to pay around £200 for this game, but it is absolutely brilliant, and I get a lot of fun out of this. It gets a lot of play. I love the theme. I love the characters. They're very camp. I love the colours. I love the music. It's just brilliant. For me, as a kid, everything was about space invaders and cowboys, and you know, I love this theme. Absolutely brilliant. Look at the box art, guys. Sunset Riders is a cracking game for Super Nintendo. One you've got to have in your collection. It is so much fun. Absolutely love this. So glad to get that. Next up is a funny old one. It's called Bastard. You fucking bastard, you. It's for the Super Famicom. Haven't played this. Looks totally bizarre and out there. You're sort of like hovering around, a bit like Space Harrier. Your character hovers around the screen. You've got to shoot some enemy in the middle here. Don't know what the fuck's going on, but it looks really cool, and I love the box art. Look at that. It could be an 80s heavy metal album cover, couldn't it? You wouldn't get this today, would you? Look at that. Just needs a couple of chains and a whip. But yeah, it's a cool cover, and the game, I don't know what the game's like, guys. I don't think it's too bad, but I don't think it's brilliant either, but I had to get this. It's so cool. Next up is a game I've been after for a long time. Another Super Famicom game, which is Macross. This is a really cool game. It's a side-scrolling shooter where you kind of transform into a robot. And so your spaceship, you've got a spaceship. And once you get a power up, you turn into a robot who does different abilities. So you can change between the two, a bit like Ikaruga if you like. They both do different abilities depending on how you want to play the game. But it is a really cool side-scrolling shoot 'em up, guys. And I've been after this for a long time. Really chuffed to get this in the collection. Only got a Japanese release. So if you see it, get it, guys. It's really, really cool. I'd love to do a gameplay on this, but just don't have time. As I say, I just want to get through all these games to show you, because this could be my last video for a while. Fuck me, I don't know where I picked this up. Look, it's got no end. I don't know, what did I pay for this? Probably a £5. It's a boxing game. TKO Super Championship Boxing. I do like my boxing games. So I used to do a bit of boxing myself, a bit of karate, so I do like a bit of boxing. And it does look a bit like Barry McGuigan's. Do you remember Barry McGuigan's boxing on the Sinclair Spectrum? Loved that game, it's so cool. I love building up your boxer, doing the circuits, doing all the training, you know, building stamina up and his muscles, and I think this has got a similar kind of gameplay. So I'm looking forward to playing this. Okay, the box is in tatters. It's got to be the worst box I've ever picked up. Don't care, I want to play it. That's all I want to do. It looks cool. You know, it's hard picking up American games, you know. So I'm so glad Daz and Pete are not on it anymore. So it'd be more for me and Jay to pick up, wouldn't it, Jay? Next up is a game called Weapon Lord. Now, this game was offered to me for ridiculous money a few months ago, along with some other stuff. I mean, the guy wanted hundreds. And I thought, I don't even know anything about the game. He was trying to flog it off as something really rare and really good. I don't know a lot about it. I know Retro Dave's owned it at some point, and it is supposed to be a good game, but I don't know whether I'll pay hundreds for it. So I picked up this copy. I think I paid about 30 quid. It's not in bad condition. I've got to get the old label cleaner on that, get that off, which won't be a problem. Haven't done that yet. Yeah, it's got a bit of wear and tear, but I'm just interested to know what this is about. It just looks like a fighting game. That's all it is. I don't think it's side-scrolling. It's got a cool manual though. Look at that. How cool is that? But yeah, I haven't even had a chance to look at this, guys. I've been so busy. But yeah, it just looks like a fighting game. And I've heard nothing about this, so I'm really interested to see how this plays out. Very interested. So you've got all the moves there, but it's not side-scrolling. I think it's just a straight-on beat-em up. Interesting. It'd be good to do a gameplay of that. It would be really cool. We are going to do a gameplay at the end of this video, the game that you saw at the beginning, because that is super cool. Now, guys, before we get onto that, let's have a look at this one. This is Aerosmith Revolution. I do believe this is a scope game. I do think it is. Now, I do like Aerosmith. The Aerosmith were a funny band, right? They were really cool in the 70s. I'm sure they did a deal with the devil, because they did so much drugs. I think bloody, what's his name? I can't remember the singer's name. What's his name now? Perry. Is it Perry? He must have snorted the whole of Peru, that guy. He's done so many drugs. I'm sure he done a deal with the devil to become famous, because obviously in the 80s they just become this massive band. It just exploded and put out some really cool albums, like Pump is an awesome album. And then all of a sudden they're on the front cover of some SNES games. So I'm interested to see what this is like. I haven't got a clue what this is like, but it's probably a load of crap, but it's got Aerosmith in it. I wish it was Van Halen or Iron Maiden, but Aerosmith are cool. I don't like them so much towards the end of their life, but their early 80s and 70s stuff is absolutely brilliant. So I wonder if they've included any of those songs. It would be cool. Based on the arcade smash. I don't even remember this in the arcade, to be honest with you. Must have been early 90s. But anyway, so I just love picking games up. If they're cheap, I pick them up. Now, guys, the next 3 games are going to be a bit funny for some people. These are not original games. These are they're not repro games. They're what I call fan-based games, because these games were not released in the US or the UK. So what these companies have done, or this company where I've bought these off, Fishy Face Games, who you can buy these games off, have reproduced the game for the American cart. So this game here, Iron Commando, which is an extremely expensive game to have on the Super Famicom, this company have reproduced it for the American market. So it's not a reproduction. If it's a reproduction, it'd be trying to look like the original, and it's not. It's doing its own thing. It's got its own cover art. It's got its own cart. It's just doing its own thing. So it's not trying to copy or fool or fake anyone. It's doing its own thing. And I'm fine with that, because the next 3 games are really expensive to own, and they're a bit out of my range, to be honest with you. So I thought, you know what? This is quite a cool idea, because I collect American carts. They look nice on the shelf. You put them straight in the console, they come up and they play absolutely perfect. So this is a side-scrolling beat-em-up, Iron Commando. It's alright, it's not one of the best side-scrolling beat-em-ups, but it's pretty damn cool. And these are not that expensive, guys. You can pick these up for about 55 quid. You know, you get it, looks brand spanking new, which it is. The only problem with these boxes is, you know, you've got the purple bit at the end here. That's the end that you're supposed to open the flap, because it doesn't have those little slits that the flap gets caught on. Well, they haven't done away with the slits. The slits are still there, so you've still got to try and yank it out without damaging it, which is really difficult. See, there's the purple bit here. You've got those little cuts in the cardboard there which get caught on these little flaps, which is really annoying. But there's the cart, guys. See, it's an American cart, and you've got instructions as well. And it's a pretty cool game, actually. And it's a you know, really expensive Japanese Famicom game. There's no way I'll pay the money they're asking. I'm not sure what that is, but it's a lot of money. But I just think that's really cool to have on an American cart. Isn't that brilliant? Absolutely fantastic. See, this is not done by Fishy Face Games. This is done by Pico Interactive, I think. Very, very cool. Now, these were offered to me by a collector. I didn't actually buy these off their actual website. I bought them off a friend of mine called John, who's been very kind to me in offering me a lot of games recently, or this year. So John, I really appreciate it, mate. I really do, because these have gone to good home, and these were sealed actually when they arrived. And I couldn't believe it. John, I can't believe you never opened them up and played them, because that's the first thing I want to do is play the game. So they were sealed, and now they're not, and now they're getting played, which is really, really cool. So they've gone to a really good home. So that is Iron Commando for the Super Nintendo. Isn't that brilliant? Wish I could do a gameplay, guys. Next up is another fan-based made game, and this is Secret of Mana 2, which I've never played. I love the first one. This only got a Super Famicom release. So again, they're just making their own box art for the American NTSC. Now these don't have the little slits in here, so that is perfect. That opens perfectly. So you've got the purple end. I can just undo that nice. So what I might have to do with that other one is maybe just put a little bit of tape over it. Saves damaging it. Now Secret of Mana is probably one of my favourite RPGs on the system. So I am really interested to play number 2. Yeah, it's got a lovely manual. Look at that, guys. Absolutely awesome. Printed in the USA. And there's the cart with all the artwork. They're just so cool. There's nothing on the back there, look. So it's not trying to fool you. It just does what it does. And I'm happy with that. And I think they look quite cool on the shelf, the other games. You know, guys, you know, we all can't afford all the games in the world. You just can't collect everything. You've got to find some ways around collecting stuff or playing the games. Otherwise you never get to play anything. Now the last game, I don't know where it is. Where is it? I've lost it. Is it on the shelf? It's on the shelf. It's been on the shelf all this time. It's probably one of the best games I've played on the Super Nintendo. And I've seen loads of videos on it. And I know one of the YouTubers, one of my favourite YouTubers, JCybersnake7, is lucky enough to own the original. Now the original of this game, and you know what it is, it's Rendering Ranger R2, came out towards the end of the Super Nintendo's life. They only made 5,000 copies, and the publisher, it was published by Virgin Interactive. It was the only company that would publish the game, and it only got released in Japan. I don't know why. Maybe it's because all the other consoles were out by then. I think the PS1 or the N64 was out by then, and things have moved on. So it just came out too late, really. And they only got a Japanese release. But the people that made this game are the same people that made Turrican. So it was a German company that produced this game, but it only got released in Japan, which is really, really odd, because it is an absolutely fantastic game, guys. Oh my god, and if you're lucky to own the original car, I'm jealous, because it is one of my favourite Super Nintendo games. Honestly, guys, it is so fucking cool. It is so cool. And again, this is a fan-based game by Fishy Face. You can see their logo here. Beautiful box art. They've got their own box art. Looks completely different than the Japanese box art. It's got lovely screenshots on the back, and it's absolutely beautiful. Really chuffed to get this. Again, John, thank you for offering this to me, mate, because this is never leaving my collection. This was all sealed when I got it as well, and I've been playing it non-stop. Again, it's got the purple thing there, but getting it open is always a little bit awkward because it's got the little slits in the flap. But you're going to love this, guys. This is just so cool. There's the cart. And guys, I've been playing this non-stop and I have not had any problems with this whatsoever. It's so cool. On the back, it's got Fishy Face Games. So again, it's not trying to be something it's not. It's not trying to be a fake. It is what it is. It does what it says on the tin. It is a fan-made based game for people that can't afford the Japanese release but want the American cart. And I think that is really, really cool. Look at that. Now what I'm going to show you now is the instruction manual, and this is the really cool bit. There's the instruction manual. It's got Fishy Face Games at the beginning there. And I'll just read you a little bit of the introduction because this is really cool. Rendering Ranger is an expensive game. It is notoriously difficult and owns a considerable debt to Donkey Kong Country. Developed by Turrican creator Manfred Trenz, Rendering Ranger can best be described as the love child of Contra 3 and Gradius 3. The game successfully blends both run and gun and shmup elements to create a literal hybrid of a game. While this type of hybrid isn't unheard of, Wild Wild World did it earlier, nor is it particularly groundbreaking, but both Rendering Ranger graphics and studio are an excellent example of what the SNES can really do. Sorry. Rendering graphics and sound are an excellent example of what the SNES can do. Rendering Ranger began its life as Targar Trentz had originally intended his game to be a shmup, but concerns from his publisher Softgold about future sales decided to bring a run and gun element as well. As development on Rendering Ranger continued, Donkey Kong Country was released. One would normally assume that these two games would have nothing in common, and to be honest they don't, but Softgold thought it differently. Donkey Kong Country's success was directly responsible for, at the time, Rendering Ranger's look. Originally the game was to have hand-drawn graphics. The rendering graphics came about because the soft gold insisted forcing that Trent did the same with his game. Perhaps because of the difficult development Rendering Ranger had, the game's absurd difficulty was a reflection of the hell that Trent was going through. Nevertheless, Rendering Ranger is, dare I say, super hard. During some of the shmup stages you will find yourself trying to fend off advances of up to 20 enemy ships. I'll be pressed to believe that even the most seasoned gamer would have some difficulty completing the game without a little help. Well, that's true, because I've got quite far in it actually, but I've had to do it on super easy and with all the lives. While Rendering Ranger is indeed difficult, it is now known primarily for its rarity. Released only in Japan in 1995, Rendering Ranger's total print run was said to be more than 5,000 copies, making it one of the most sought after games for the Super Famicom. Couple that with the fact that the game is both fun to play and a shmup, it's no wonder that the cart only copy can demand up towards, where it says here, $300. That's just for the cart. I've seen it go for about $700. Even though its difficulty can be seen as a hindrance, Rendering Ranger is an amazing game for its time. Rather, if you would reach the final boss, you'll be asking yourself, shouldn't this be on the Saturn? Guys, they nailed it with that, and that is so cool that they've written that at the beginning of this instruction book. That is so cool. I really, really like that, because it is a fantastic game. The graphics in this are some of the best graphics I've ever seen on Super Nintendo. The sound is brilliant, and then just when you think it's all over, you've got on your ship, suddenly you're in space controlling a spaceship in a shoot 'em up kind of gameplay. It's just absolutely incredible. Honestly guys, I can't tell you how cool this game is. It really, really is cool, and I would love to own the original, but I think this is second best. I think this is really cool to own it like this. So without further ado guys, we've got to do a gameplay of this, because probably a lot of you have never even heard of it, and it just deserves. I'm going to try and get as far as I can. I'm going to get to the shoot 'em up level so you can see what I mean. It is just so cool. So let's put the old cart in the old console, fire it up, and have a gameplay of Rendering Ranger R2. Right, here we are guys, Rendering Ranger R2. Looking forward to this. So we're going to go straight into the options, because it is a rock hard game, honestly. We're going to put it on live 7, and we're going to put it on difficulty easy, just so we can get to the side-scrolling shmup area, so I can show you that. Here you've got the controls, you've got jump, weapon change, shoot, a mega weapon, which is pretty cool. And that's it really guys, let's get into it. Graphics in this are just unbelievable, and the sound is incredible. You'll see, it's so cool. You notice straight away, very similar to Contra and Turricane. Let's crank up the music. Watch out for these little holes in the ground. They can catch you out quite a bit. See these little holes here? You've got to jump over them. Pick up the power-ups. And I can change weapon. I haven't got another weapon yet. I've got to pick that up. As soon as I've got another weapon, I can change. I'm sticking with this one. So fucking cool. But watch out for these gaps in the ground now, guys, because this is one of the hardest parts of the game. It's getting across these gaps in the ground, because you're looking up at the sky here, what's coming in, what's attacking you, and you forget about the holes in the ground. You've got to leap over. So I've got to concentrate here, guys. Pressing right on the shoulder pad, shoulder button, will make me shoot diagonally down or diagonally up, which is pretty cool. Ah, see. Leap of faith. These robot flying things, whatever they look like something out of Terminator, but with the gun I've got no chance. Now I've powered it up a bit with my gun, might be a bit easier. Leap of faith coming up. Oh! What? This is so difficult, guys. I'm low on health now. But watch yourself, stay to the right hand side because the ground blows up. Keep going. Oh, he got me. How did he get me from there? A big leap of faith again. Ah, that thing got in the way. It's not fair. Alright, end of level boss, guys. I've only got 3 lives left already. I'm not even level 2 yet. Change my weapon. Low on health. I need to power up quick. I need a mega bomb. Oh, God, I'm not doing very well, guys. He's down. He's out. We've only got 2 lines left, which is not good. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Stay a little way back from these because they can fire quite far out here. Look at the background. So much going on. get distracted by all the animations going on. I've got another weapon now as well, which I will use once I get into the caverns. Where it gets hard, guys. Well, I'm going to change my weapon now. Sort of rebound, which is quite handy in here. Shit. Don't think we'll be able to do this, guys. This is my last life. I've got to concentrate because this is where it gets so hard. I'm doing alright. As long as I get to that shmup area, I don't mind. Got plenty of bombs, mega bombs, got full health. This is my last life. We're in the spaceship, guys. Look at that, it's done it. My last life left. Look at this. Look at this spaceship, so cool. Look at that, look at the graphics, rendered graphics, absolutely at its best. That's so cool. Right, here we go. Stage 3, side-scrolling shoot 'em up. This is really cool, guys. Really, really cool. So I can change my weapons. 4 different types of weapons. I'm going to go with this one for now. You can also rotate as well. So I can turn around if I want to. That's cool. I might swap my weapon here. No, that's maybe a bit better. Oof. Taking some damage. Right, I'm change my weapon. I've got a boss. He's going to get it. 3 mega bombs. He's done him. I was totally powered up, that's why. Maximum power up on my weapon. I had 3 mega bombs. He was out. I'm out. That's it, guys. Game over. I have got a lot further than that, but that's nearly 20 minutes of gameplay, guys. I think that's long enough. Yeah, what do you think? There you go, 25,000. Pretty damn cool. So what do you think, guys? Pretty cool game, isn't it? I absolutely love that game. So brilliant. Enjoy playing that so much. So that's it, guys. Been going way too long. I think it's well over an hour, this video now, but I haven't done one for ages, so there you go. But I will be putting out a SNES collection, my whole Super Nintendo collection at the end of this week, so look out for that. See you on the next one, guys. Take care.